Everyone, I hope you're doing well. My name is Chris Green, and in today's video, I've got 50 items that are all priced under $20 that are going to be great stocking stuffer gifts for the musicians in your life. Maybe you yourself are a musician. Maybe this holiday season, you got one of those $20 Visa gift cards and you're scrolling through Sweetwater and everything you want is in the hundreds or thousands of dollars range. Well, you're not going to be buying any brand new guitars or drum sets with $20.
Wasn't there a $20 limit on the gift?
But there are certainly many things you can get less than $20, and I've got most of them here on this list. These are items that I use just about every day in this home studio. You can look over all of my YouTube videos. I'm using these things all of the time. Links are in the description for all of these items, so if you're looking to go shopping and you need some inspiration to get some stocking stuffers for the musician in your life, that's all in today's video. Let's get started.
Presents are the best way to show someone how much you care. It is like this tangible thing that you can point to and say, hey man, I love you, this many dollars worth.
All right, everyone, like I said earlier, links are in the description to all the items in this video. If you want to check out the full list yourself, you can check the link to my Amazon affiliate page. I've got a list set up, $20 gifts for musicians. Just simply click that and you can follow along as well. But let's break this list down. So these are in no particular order. Actually, they're just going to be in the order that I added them on the list. The first thing I want to start with is this pop filter. Now, if you don't know what a pop filter is, this one from Newer, super cheap, super affordable, $6. But what a pop filter is going to do is going to keep a lot of those plosives, the S's and kind of nasty sounds that we hear on vocal recordings. It's going to make everything much softer. Now, the reason these things are so affordable is because people actually used to take like coat hangers and just stretch pantyhose on top of them. Well, if you want an official looking pop filter, certainly you can spend more money on many of these items, but this pop filter from Newer, about $6, is going to carry you well. Next up, we have these Cable Matters 100 pack of these 8-inch hook and loop cable ties. So a cable tie is super useful, specifically if you're in a home studio environment like this, or you're doing any live sound. You want to keep all of your XLR cables, your microphone cables, keep them all tidy. So getting a big pack of like 100 and they're all kind of color coded, it's a very nice thing. Most musicians are not going to want to spend their own money on cable ties, but I guarantee you if you get cable ties for somebody with a bunch of cables, it's going to come in handy. Okay, next up, this one is a Behringer headphone amp. Okay, this is a splitter. So basically what you can do is, like in this situation right now, I'm wearing a pair of in-ears and I'm in a home studio environment. Well, if I had more musicians in this room and they all wanted to record all at the same time, I could use this box to basically split my headphone mix among 4 people. So I could have 3 other musicians in this room. We could all be listening to the same thing. We could be listening to a click track. Comes in handy, and for less than $20, can't be beat, okay? Next up, these Behringer BH470 studio monitoring headphones. Now, super disclaimer, none of the headphones that I use are less than $20. So trying to make a recommendation to you, if somebody, musician, or you're trying to come up with headphones on a budget, less than $20, you're going to be really scant, okay? Most of the stuff out there is not going to be super great. I would say that if you're getting a main pair of headphones, you probably need to spend more money than $20. But for $17.90, you can't go wrong. These Behringer headphones should do the job just fine. May even be good just to have them to like throw at a drummer or somebody that you know is going to abuse them a lot. Just have those available for you. All right, next one up. This one's interesting. This is the Behringer ECM 8000. Now, if you're not a musician or you don't know what an RTA microphone is, this was one that I've got here from SonarWorks, and I've made a video where basically at our church or any sort of live sound environment, I will set up this microphone in the room, and what it does is it's not meant to be used for recording. It's not meant to sound great, but it is meant to have a flat frequency response. So if you're looking to analyze what's going on in your room, you want to find out if you have good acoustics in your room, you're going to want to get some sort of flat profile RTA microphone. Now, I mentioned in that video, you don't have to get the SonarWorks one. This one, I believe, is like $100, $200. It came with a set with the software, but this Behringer one, the ECM 8000, it's only $19.90. The musician or home studio enthusiast in your life will be glad to have one of these, and it works great, okay? Now, I know we're throwing out a lot of Behringer stuff, but honestly, Behringer, for the price you're getting, anything under $20 is going to be a lot of that. But I do promise there's more companies out there on this list. Now, the next item is the Behringer XM8500. This is a wired microphone. This is cardioid and it is $13. So if you're going to be buying a microphone, like this SM7B is like a $300 microphone. Anything you're going to be using for a legit recording environment, you're going to be spending a lot of money, at least in SM57, which will go for about $99 brand new. For $13, it's worth a try. If I'm opening up my stocking on Christmas morning and I see a microphone, I know that it's not going to be like my main thing, but hey, it might be useful for like you're recording drums and you want to smash a microphone and crush it through a compressor. You might get some fun results with it, okay? Next up, these are moving blankets. Now, this big black curtain you see right here, this is actually a really thick moving blanket that has loops at the top, so you can hang it almost like you would a curtain. The reason I put moving blankets on this list is that if you are a musician that is trying to get rid of echo or a lot of like sound that's bouncing around the walls in your room, a very affordable option is to get a bunch of blankets or moving blankets and hang them up on the walls, okay? I've actually seen a video of One Direction where they were recording in a hotel. So what they did in the hotel is they took the mattresses off of the beds, they stood up the mattresses in the corners, and then they used the blankets to create this like faux vocal booth. So anybody that's trying to treat acoustically and they don't have the money to do so, I'm highly gonna recommend you check out moving blankets. You don't have to get the ones that are blue. Of course, you can spend more money on acoustic treatment, but a moving blanket has multiple uses, okay? Next up, I've got an iPad holder for your music stand. So if you're a musician and you don't memorize your music, maybe you play in church, this is super useful. You can just slap your iPad into it. It clamps onto your music stand, so it's not super bulky. It's not another stand that you're having to have on stage, but it can hold your iPad for you. Or maybe if you're using Ableton or any sort of remote session work with a DAW, where you're triggering a bunch of loops and things, you might like to have your iPad mounted on a stand. Okay, so I put that on the list there, 1938. All right, next thing up here, we have some guitar slides. Now, I've got this set, and I will say it's a good introduction. So what you're gonna get a glass slide, a steel slide, and then one brass slide, okay? They do have different tonalities to them, and it's a good introduction. These aren't like the best things in the world, but if you're a guitar player and you've not played around with like slide guitar, you just have to make a lot of changes. So if you're going to get into slide guitar, I believe you got to raise the action on your strings a lot. You really got to commit to it, but with these, you can definitely play around. If you're just doing a quick recording, you can get some results with the slide, but this will kind of get you exposed to it, and then you can decide if you like it later or not. All right, this is gaff tape. Gaff tape is awesome. I've got a roll here of the white gaff tape. I don't believe that this fit exactly under the $20 price point. This was probably like $28, but I have used this over the past year or so on numerous things within this room and then also abroad. Gaff tape, if you know what it is, this stuff is like gold. If you're taping down cables and you don't want to have a bunch of leftover residue or glue on the floor, go with gaff tape. I've also used this when I'm doing YouTube videos. I'll take my lapel mic that's inside my shirt and I'll make a little house for my lapel mic out of gaff tape. So many different uses. And a roll, this has been a year's worth and I'm still about, that's probably half of it still left on the roll. So gaff tape, check it out. You can get it in different colors as well. I did white. I thought white would be cool, but any color is fine. All right, next on the list, we have this Gator Frameworks desktop microphone stand. Now, I went with the one with the round base that just goes up and down for this primary purpose. Now, I'm using this Gator Frameworks. It's typically meant for like a kick drum, but as you can see here, I'm using it to hold my SM7B. The SM7 is a very heavy microphone, so I like using this one that has a lot of weight to it. But I've seen a lot of people, especially on YouTube and stuff, if you're just trying to put a microphone on a desk so that you can do a podcast or an interview, can't go wrong with this one here. It's got a very heavy base. It goes up, it's going to go up a few inches. It's not going to do the telescoping thing like this one does very much, but it's very low profile, and that's a good thing. All right, next I've got a pedal board here. Now this is a 14-inch mini pedal board, Guitar Effects. So this one is not going to be particularly useful if you've got a bunch of Boss pedals that are just humongous, okay? But if you've got some of these like more affordable, like I think the Amazon Basics ones, or you've got one of those like the Boost pedals, those are gonna be great. There's a little rinky-dink pedal board that you can put in your backpack. It would be pretty cool to have. Again, if you're getting a gift for a guitar player, they probably already have a giant pedal board. You get them a little mini pedal board. They'll have fun with that. All right, next is this stereo microphone bar. As somebody that records music a lot, it's nice to have a stereo set. So like in this instance, I can put one microphone on a stand, but with this attachment, you can take any microphone stand that you have. You basically screw this part on and you'll be able to put two microphones in one position. And the good thing about it is it keeps them the same distance apart. So once you figure out your phase relationship, you shouldn't have problems there. $13, not something that's usually laying around all the time. Okay, speaking of laying around, let's get this one here. These little male to female threaded nut screws, I believe is what they're called. These things, I would have 30 of them if I could have 30 of them, because here in this room, these things go missing all the time. The reason that these are important is that whenever I'm replacing, like if I'm taking this SM7B off of this boom stand, a lot of times this piece will come with it. So if I'm swapping out microphones and I all of a sudden realize I have a stand that doesn't have this threaded piece, it can be very problematic. So these are just little microphone accessories that go for putting on microphones on stands, okay? Next is a quick release mic adapter. So this piece, the quick release adapter, would be useful for basically if I want to take this SM7B and I want to swap it out with another microphone, all I have to do is press a button. And when I press the button, it releases the microphone and the clip so that I can just pop on another one. I don't have to do any of the like threaded screwing. I could just quick release. And of course you can get packs of these. They have some of them where it's like 4 in a pack, but for $14, try one of them out. If you don't like it, you're not out that much money, okay? All right, next, these are these EBS patch cables. Okay, this is the ones I use on my pedal board. They've held up really well. They are flat, so they're very low profile and they're meant to like not be seen. Now there's a little lightning bolt design on the edge, but I've never really see that on my pedal board. I like to have my pedals really close together. So you get that with these flat right angle patch cables. All right, I believe this is just gonna be one of them. So keep that in mind. All right, next we have a MIDI interface. This is a MIDI to USB-C adapter. Now I'm using a MIDI to USB cable from M Audio. It's much more than $20, but I've been using that thing for years. And what's different is now that I have a MacBook, this is an M3, there is no standard USB type A size. So everything is USB-C. So on this MacBook, if I want to plug in my MIDI keyboard, I have to use a dongle. So I put this one on the list. I figure it's worth a try. 4 Type-C to MIDI interface MIDI cable adapters. So basically you'll be able to take any of your MIDI instruments, plug them straight into a USB-C slot. I think it's a good way to go. The next one's very similar to it. It's known as a printer cable, but many MIDI instruments, USB keyboards out there, they'll use this same kind of connection. This one has a USB-C on one end and the other end is a USB type B, I believe is what they're calling it. All right, next is a surge protector or power strip. This is not going to be near as good as something like from Blackline Audio or Furman, but it's useful. It's got USB ports on it, a bunch of other outlets for plugging in your gear. You typically want to have all of the stuff in your studio, trying to go as much as possible to one outlet without overloading your system. So I have a very, very basic setup here. I'm not worried about blowing anything up, but it's handy to have one of these laying around. Next up, I've got this Pile Premium Direct box. Now, I was crazy surprised. This Direct box is running $12, and for $12, this would be good to have in your backpack. If you're someone that's traveling around and you don't have a Direct box, not every venue, not every church you go to is gonna have a DI box laying around. You've got one of your own. This will come in a pinch. I can't speak to the quality of it, but personally speaking, I do know that certain Direct boxes, I don't think that they affect the sound the same way like guitar pedals do, but there's definitely a degradation of sound that will happen with more affordable Direct boxes, if that makes sense. So on a much more expensive list, we put things like the Radial Direct boxes. I don't think they're particularly adding tone to your, guitar tone and stuff, but they're certainly allowing the majority of it to pass through unscathed. Okay, so keep an eye on those. All right, next up are these headphone 1/4 inch to 1/8 inch adapters. Right now, I've got my in-ears plugged into this very long headphone extension cable, and of course, My in-ears, they are 1/8 inch, but I need it to be 1/4 inch. So having as many of these laying around as possible is great. All right, next I put this gooseneck mount for a phone. So why would a musician need some sort of smartphone gooseneck adapter? Well, in today's climate, maybe they're a musician that wants to set up their phone to get a quick video or go live and play guitar, something like that. I found that these gooseneck clamp-on adapters, you're going to get more versatility out of them than you would like a traditional tripod. The bad thing about a tripod is it just takes up a lot of floor space, especially if you're at a concert or you're at church and you're trying to film yourself playing something or playing the drums. It's going to be a whole lot more useful in less profile, so less people are going to be able to tell you're just setting up this giant tripod. Usually something like this will do just fine for your smartphone. You can clamp it onto the side of a boom arm. You can clamp it onto a cymbal stand. A lot of versatility, so check this one out, the gooseneck mount. All right, next are these quick release lock straps, so strap locks, all right? Strap locks come in handy because if you have a lot of guitars, and especially if you're on stage and you're bouncing around, you don't want your strap to break on you. You don't want it to come off of the button. So anytime you can get strap locks, the better off you're gonna be. Now, I've purchased strap locks in the past, and the problem with those strap locks is that they did not have a quick release. Okay, so I put these ones on here. You can find definitely some higher quality strap locks out there. If you're not worried about, like, if you're playing a $4,000 guitar, do not put $13 strap locks on your guitar, okay? You probably want to look at something a little more expensive, but I can say if you've got a bunch of guitars and you just need to get a bunch of strap locks, check these out. They have the quick release. You can take the strap off if you need to swap things around. All right. Next, I've got this set of screws. This is basically like an accessories kit for if you're somebody that likes to finagle with guitars and guitar parts. You may have a screw missing on your pick guard. You may have screws missing for like putting on a strap. This little set here is about $12. It's got just about every standard size screw you would see on like guitars and basses. Handy to have that laying around. Next up, we have a rechargeable snark. This is a clip-on tuner, and like I said, the most important part about this thing is that it is rechargeable. Okay, so I've used this one before. I've had good results with it. I use mainly the pedal tuners that are on the floor, but as I've had guitar students over the years, I highly recommend them getting this snark tuner. I believe this one charges via USB-C, so as you're charging your phones or any sort of device like that, you can just charge your clip-on tuner once in a while. All right, next up, this is a guitar cleaning all-in-one kit. You're gonna be able to clean the body of your guitar and the fretboard of your guitar. I'm not somebody that would like to spend my own money on stuff like this, but it would be a nice gift. So if you're opening up a gift on Christmas and you've got fretboard polish or whatever, what have you, this would be a good set. Now, it does look like it comes with a microfiber cloth. You wanna make sure that you've got some sort of cloth to do the cleaning with this and make sure that you're using the right type of cleaner for the right type of guitar. So that's part of the fear with me is I don't want to put something on my guitar unless I know that it's meant to go on that type of wood or that type of finish. All right, these little Jim Dunlop, this is a pick holder. Basically on the back side of these pick holders, it's just a little piece of like tape adhesive. I put this on my Martin acoustic guitar. It's just meant to that you can quickly grab a guitar pick when you need it. I haven't had any issues with it scuffing up my guitar or leaving glue or anything. It's a very light tape that's holding it on there. It holds it up enough where you can put some picks and they're easy to reach. Then you can go from there. All right, then we have this peg winder. I do not personally use a peg winder, but in the comments section of many of my videos where I'm changing guitar strings, I have people calling me out all the time about, hey, you need to get a peg string winder. Essentially, it's going to be a little drill that will rotate the tuners for you so that you don't have to sit there for ages and just twist. Me, I'm just a cheapskate. I'm just going to sit there and twist it myself, but check out the string winder if you need one of those. All right, next I put a set of screwdrivers, and I'll tell you why. People underestimate, you think because you're a musician, you don't need screwdrivers. But I'm pretty much at least once a week, I'm looking for some sort of screwdriver. Now, these ones on Amazon, this is a 10-piece. They have magnetic screwdrivers. Okay, so magnetic meaning when you have the screw at the tip, it's going to basically lock onto it to some degree. Okay, so you're not chasing after your screws near as much. Next up on the list, we have some Velcro. Now these Velcro patches I specifically use on the bottom of guitar pedals. So if you have a bunch of guitar pedals and you're putting your pedal board together, it's just nice to have these little Velcro squares. Musicians will understand. So if all this stuff on this list doesn't make sense, most likely the guitar player or drummer in your life, they will understand. All right, next we have a Hosa XLR cable. This is a microphone cable, and particularly trying to find something under $20 I can recommend to you. I definitely have used Hosa in the past. They seem to be very good quality. I haven't noticed any of them just going out on me like some of these other brands, but Hosa, they've got this one here. I believe this is a 10-foot XLR cable, microphone cable, $17.95. If you got any of the microphones earlier for somebody in your life, you might want to throw a microphone cable in there as well because they will need one at least. All right, then we've got a Fender Professional Series instrument cable. Fender Professional Series instrument cable. There's usually with instrument cables, I don't have a lot of issues with them unless they're extremely straight. So when you're looking at guitar cables in particular, you'll see some that are like threaded. You'll see some that are spiral. Meaning that when you coil them, they're not going to maintain any sort of dents that you may have in the way. Okay, so mainly with guitar cables, I see Fender as a reputable brand that should be satisfied. Everybody can use a guitar cable, or at least one more. Now this Ernie Ball, this is a headphone extension cable, just like I was telling you earlier. I've got a headphone extension cable that is rather long, and I always use these for making these videos because I don't know if I need to get up and grab something. But my headphones that I'm wearing, they're usually only like 3 or 4 feet. They just don't make them near long enough. So get yourself a headphone extension cable. If you do get this headphone extension cable, you'll probably need the adapters that go with it, like I was talking about earlier, the little 1/8" adapters. All right, next we have Elixir guitar strings. Of course, I'm always using the Elixirs because I am lazy, and Elixir guitar, they're not sponsoring this video, but Elixir guitar strings, they hold up for me very well. I don't play in any sort of like ultra weathery environments, okay? So most of the time I'm indoors, and I usually only have to change strings. Like, I should change strings more often, but maybe like once every 4 months. It's not much, but Elixirs hold up well. You can check those out. All right, next we got some drum products. So if you're a drummer or you're shopping for a drummer out there, you want to check these out. Now this one is a kind of quirky gift, but if you're a drummer that's looking to cut out a port on your kick drum, okay, basically if you look at your drummer's kick drum, if it's flat, if there's no hole on the front, it's going to be about the size of like, you know, a little bit bigger than a soup can. You can get one of these cutters. So basically it has a little needle that pokes into the head, and then you spin it, and as you spin it, it makes a complete circle. It looks very good. I've got an old video here on YouTube that you can check that out about cutting a hole in my kick drum. I use something very similar, if not the exact same one, in that video. Moon gel, if you're a drummer, you know what moon gel is. If you're not a drummer, just get your drummer some moon gel. Moon gel is going to dampen the sound of whatever, if you're putting on your snare drum. It's going to take a lot of that ringing and that decay, and it's going to shorten it. Okay, there's positives and negatives, but moon gel, it often clumps up and kind of gets a little bit dirty. So getting a fresh set of moon gel is a good way to go. All right, this is an Evans EQ pad for bass drum dampening. Now this pad goes inside the bass drum, and it does essentially the same thing that moon gel does. You're just trying to remove some of that ringing that happens. Next, I put on here a cymbal replacement accessories. This is super nerdy, but if you're a drummer, you probably don't want to spend your hard-earned money on cymbal replacement accessories. But if you are a drummer and you don't have any of these pieces, you definitely are going to want them, okay? It's one of those where like you take them for granted all the time. You lose your little pads, you lose the things that keep your cymbals from breaking away and cracking up. So this is a little set that's gonna get you straight with that. Next, we got a drum tuning key. Now these ones are cool because they have a hole where you can put these on your keychain. So I don't carry it on my keychain anymore because we got an electronic set at our church. I'm not playing drums near as much, but it's always nice to have a set on your keychain so you can tune your drums as needed. I've got some drumsticks here on the list, the nylon tips. Nylon tips are going to be a little bit more expensive than wood tips, but nylon tips, the benefit is that they have that coating on the edge, the nylon coating, to where they hold up substantially longer than wood tips. Okay, wood tips, as you're playing on the drums, they may have a better sound. They have like a warmer tone to them, but the wood chips will eventually degrade over time. Nylon holds up 100%. Okay, then put these drumsticks from Zildjian that have the dipped, they're called dip drumsticks. So the dip is basically they have a grip to them, and it's very much like a rubber grip. It feels very strange, and especially these being 7As, they're very light. But when I was learning how to play drums, these were a must-have because I always dropped drums all the time. Okay. Next, we had a 2-pack of 64 gigabyte flash drives. Flash drives have come a long way, and who couldn't use an extra set of flash drives for moving music around or documents? These also can fit on a keychain as well, so that's good. All right, we've got a headphone hook. So this is useful if you have a table like this and you want to have a place to hang your headphones. It's just a simple, basically just tighten the screw. You'll have a little hook there. You can hang your headphones up if you need to. Then we get into guitar picks. I'll say this about the guitar picks. What I put on the list is a sample pack, pretty much of each size. So with this one, the star picks, what's great about the star picks is they have a hole cut out in the middle. So with the star pick, you've got this grip. And if you haven't used a star pick before, it's a great experience. You'll find one that you prefer over the others. For me, I really like using the yellow picks. They're pretty light, but you can check out the different colors there. They'll send you a pack. It's a 12 pack, and then you'll be able to choose which one you like. Whoever is playing guitar, they'll probably tell you like, oh, I really like the green ones. And then from the future, you can know to get the green ones for them. And then also the Dunlop Tortex standard picks. These are kind of like the go-to standard pick. Also, this is a sample pack, so they'll have different sizes and thicknesses. So guitar picks, some of them are thin, some of them are very thick. This will give you a variety. And then on each of the picks, it tells you like the thickness of each of them. So you'll be able to tell which one's your favorite. All right, a guitar capo. This capo, particular from Diodario, it has the tightening screw. So if you don't like the tension of like a Kaiser capo, typically with Kaiser capos, they squeeze the life. It's just like a spring-loaded thing. It just squeezes your guitar. Sometimes they squeeze so hard that your stuff goes out of tune. We can compensate for that by using these that have the adjustable tension. So you take that screw and you adjust it. It's not as quick to use capos like this, but you'll get a better result if you've got the time to be able to use them. Zip ties, this pack of, I've ordered this before. This is a pack of 500 zip ties. And when I'm telling you it's 500 zip ties, you should never have to use more than 500 zip ties in your life ever again. But for $10, it's useful to have. Ernie ball, to me, when it comes to guitar straps, you can't go wrong with a black Ernie ball guitar strap. They're all over the place. They're not really making a statement. Like, it doesn't have a bunch of logos and stuff on it. It's just a black, nice guitar strap. Okay. They will break, but I've personally never had an Ernie ball guitar strap that broke on me. I think that's why they hold up. This is like the SM57 of guitar straps. And then the last thing on the list here, these prime tone picks from Dunlop. They're a little bit more expensive than your standard guitar pick, but I'm really satisfied with the prime tone picks. They hold up well. They have that smooth edge that doesn't turn into like a sharp credit card. Like, it doesn't get a bunch of notches on it like some of the more affordable ones do, but you need to find the specific size that you like. So I put the 0.88 millimeter size on this list. Feel free to check out all the different prime tone picks there. So like I said, all the links to these items are in the description of this video. Feel free to shop around. And then you can also, like I said before, you can go to my Amazon store front and you'll be able to see a list of more things. If you want to know like what gear I'm using or any of these items here where I put great microphones, these are the microphones that I've personally owned in this home studio to a certain point. Okay, the Neumann TLM103 is right over there in the corner. I am speaking into the SM7B. Many of these microphones you've seen here on my channel, and there's other lists like that over on the storefront. So check the link in the descriptions of the video, hit the like and subscribe buttons, and happy holidays to everyone out there. Good luck shopping. Hope you enjoyed the video. See ya.